What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A Couple of Subs. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Cody Crane. With me, as always, my lovely co-host, Kristen Crane, aka Kiki.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Couple of Subs. So today, our guest on the show is Mr. AJ Hammons with AJ Hammons Construction. He's a good friend of ours, good buddy. We met him at Brandon Davis's birthday party, right?
Yep, Big 30.
Yeah, Dirty 30. So we're hanging out at our house and having, some people over. And we had something like, we got struck by lightning like recently before that or something. And anyway, Aaron here was like awesome and helped us like fix our power during that time. Anyway, that's how we met, and so it was a really good.
He didn't do it for free though. I had to beat him in beer pong.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. But anyway, so we're super excited to have him on our show. He has worked for his father's company for a while and has branched off recently and created his own. And so, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Aaron Hammons to the show. Aaron, thank you for being on our show today.
Thank y'all for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, just a brief history.
I'm 24. I grew up in Long Beach, Mississippi. I still live in Long Beach, Mississippi. That's where my company's out of. We do all general construction, everything except for storm cleanup. So don't call me to pick up your trees and your limbs. Other than that, we do everything: drywall, roofs, sheetrock, electrical, plumbing, whatever you need, we'll take care of it.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, just whatever y'all need, we do it. So
all right,
we got people for everything.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So your tell us a little bit about your company. Is actually like a branch off of your father's company. What is it? HB Electric? Is that right?
HBA, Electrical and General Construction.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
So my grandfather started his company in like 1970 or the early 1970s, and my father worked for him for a long time, and then he started his own, branched out in 1999. And I kind of did the same thing. I worked for my father for a good little while, and then recently I kind of branched out and started doing my own thing as well, because every once in a while the birds got to leave the nest and grow up. So it was time to go out and do my own thing.
That's awesome. So that's real similar to Kristen and my stories. Mm-hmm. I'm the fourth generation. She's second generation. Like, we're a bunch of construction rats.
Yeah. It seems like Mississippi, that's the way.
That's right.
That's the way to go where we live. So the smartest way to go, at least around here. So.
I feel like it is too, man.
Yeah.
Well, so how was it like growing up in the family business? So your dad started this company, your grandfather started it back in the 70s, and growing up, how was that?
Well, we were actually spoiled kids. We were, my mom didn't want us out on the job sites when I was a little bitty kid. She was, no, don't have them out there. And then when I was about 15 or 16, she was like, all right, they can go ahead out there. And I started out just sweeping the job sites mainly is all I would do. I would sweep the job sites, clean up, do stuff like that, and just be around everybody.
Organize the toolbox.
Oh, yeah. I remember as a little kid going out to the job sites, and I thought it was so cool to just go find like hiding spots and hide from my dad and stuff like that. And I never realized what was going on until I got a little bit older. And then I turned into the digger when I was about 17 or 18. If there was a trench to be dug, I was digging it. So that's where these callous hands come from. Just stuff like that. If there was some dirty work to be done, I was the one doing it typically, because no offense to my brother, but he was not into very much manual labor, and still isn't today, which is why he went into the insurance industry. So
okay, I was about to ask you that if you had any siblings that grew up.
I do. I got two brothers and a sister, and my oldest brother, he does a shrimp boat. He owns a shrimp boat and is a president of some fisherman union over in Pass Christian. My sister, she's a school teacher in Gulfport and the soccer coach, and my brother does insurance. He's an insurance agent advocate, kind of works with adjusters and whatnot, which kind of actually helps with my field, because me and him communicate a lot about, especially right now during storm times, he helps me I'll have people come to me and they'll be like, hey man, we only got approved for a partial roof, this or that, what do we do? And I can talk to my brother and he'll be like, hey man, if you tell him this, like it's not reasonable appearance, if you tell them this, then you can get them approved for a full roof. So I'll go out there and put a mismatched shingle on their house and be like, hey, send it to their insurance and say, hey, this isn't reasonable appearance. The next thing I know, they'll be calling me, thanking me, saying, hey Aaron, thank you so much. They went from a partial roof to a full roof. Thanks to you, when can you come get started? So it kind of worked out that he went into insurance and I went into the construction industry.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So whenever you were working like with your dad for all those years, kind of give us a little bit about where your role started. You said you started like digging trenches.
Sweeping floors.
Yeah, how did your role evolve?
So I started out sweeping, digging as just a general laborer, and eventually, really at the inlet project in Ocean Springs, my dad was like, all right.
Y'all did that?
We did the inlet. Yes, we
wow,
did.
that place is beautiful.
It
is.
I ate lunch there yesterday.
Yeah. Shout out to Keg and Barrel.
Yeah,
we
did the electrical on that, and he was like, all right, it's time for you to start really getting some knowledge and learning something here. I was about 20 or 21 then, and he was like, it's time for you to start picking up on something. And halfway through that project, his supervisor quit, and by that time, I'm a quick learner, so I had picked up on it, and my dad kind of threw me to the wolves because he was so busy doing other jobs. We were building Beach Vista behind the Surf Style in Biloxi. We were the contractors for that. He was, at least, and he built it from the ground up, and he was very busy with that. And he told me, he was like, look, I'm real busy. You seem like you're catching on, so let's see what you can do. It's time for you to step up and do something. So that's what I did. I kind of took over that inlet job site out on the third building, I believe it was, and I started wiring it. And after a couple weeks of doing that, he said, all right, you're doing real good, and he let me bring on, I got on Facebook, I believe, because he's not very internet. We needed some workers because I was out there by myself with one other guy doing all these condos. We brought in a bunch of laborers, and that's when he found out that I kind of had like the natch for lining out guys, because I would line out guys and get them all, and we was knocking out 7-8 condos a day.
Huge part of what we do.
Yeah. So that just kind of evolved from there, and after time I started running all of his jobs, and here we are today. I branched out and started doing my own thing.
So did you think, like, I know there had been time, because what you just said to me, what you just told me was basically exactly what happened to me. I mean, it's, working in the field, and then I need you here, throw you to the wolves, figure it out type of, same thing. That's exactly how I came out of my tool bag. So was there ever a time before that where you're like, shit, I'm going to be pushing this broom for the rest of my life?
Well, man,
I know I did.
I used to hate going to the job before that because I knew I was going to be digging, I was going to be sweeping.
Doing the bitch work.
Oh, whatever he could find that was miserable, that was going to be my job.
Well,
so
that's like the owner's son.
Yeah.
You get the fucking bitch work.
And
they're going to make a point to show everybody that I'm not giving special treatment here.
And honestly, you get worse treatment
Absolutely.
From that because they're trying to make the point. Like, look, he's not getting special treatment. He's getting y'all are in there having a good time while he's out there digging all your trenches, and all you're doing is putting the pipes together and laying it in while he backfills it and all that. So,
no doubt, I know exactly what you mean.
Oh yeah, that it evolved from there.
So with all of that said, you are working on the inlet project with Thrash Construction. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome company to work for.
They are.
We've done a lot of work for them.
They're very good people. Very good people. Miss Tracy was the interior. Tracy Carter. She was the interior designer there.
Okay.
She was an amazing woman and just wanted everything perfect. Beautiful fixtures.
We love our details.
She actually had us hang all the fixtures in the first building, and then was like, "I don't like them. I'll pay y'all to redo every single one of them. Just redo them all." So she really put a lot of detail into that project, and that's why it's turned out the way it has into such a nice place.
So, when you're working on that project, you are with your dad, and then you decide to branch out on your own. What made you, what was it that made you want to
Is
do
there
that?
something that clicked? You're like,
Well, my dad's getting older. He's in his 60s now, early 60s, and he was just, we got two different dreams. Let me say that. He's content with being, with what he has now. I'm not content at all. I want to grow. I want to be not a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a very powerful, rich man, and he doesn't. He's been there. He's had big companies, and he doesn't want the headache of doing all that, and I do want the headache. I'm young, ambitious, ready to get this done. So
hungry.
so that's why I decided to go out on my own, because I wanted to grow into something that my dad does not want to grow into, and he's let me know, like, I don't want, if you want to, I kind of got his blessing before I went out on my own. I sat down,
respectably.
I sat down with him and I had a talk, and I was like, hey, I love you to death, but I think it's time for us to go our separate ways. And he was like, I agree with you. It is kind of time for us to go our separate ways. He's got a vision and I got a vision, and it's two completely different visions of the end result. So,
And that's okay.
yeah.
So it's part of it.
At 23 years old,
24.
24 years old, you're, you go out on your own, taking a leap of faith, basically.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, big time.
But how do you, build your customer base? How did you find the work? How did you find more jobs to do? I mean, you're 24 years old. It's hard for a 24-year-old.
Look,
it's got to be hard for a young guy.
I can't explain how I got the customers that I got, but I'm a very religious guy, and I believe in, before I had customers, I was thanking God, thank you, God, for all the work coming. I was calling it in. Thank you, God, for all the customers coming. Thank you, God, for everything coming my way. And sure enough, I was getting phone calls like crazy. And not too long after that, we got Hurricane Zeta, and I'm into roofs and all types of general construction. It was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because at that same time, it was like, all right, you want God to give you work? Well, here you go. All you can eat buffets.
God definitely sent Zeta after our ass.
Oh, yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, that's kind of how that worked out.
Really?
So,
Well, I couldn't think of a better answer.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So really, you just kind of put it in God's hands.
Yeah, I most definitely did. I had been, in a way, I like to say, calling in work from my father, and he was getting work off of me calling it in from God. I used to tell him that all the time, but I called that in. He'd get a big job, and I called that in. I'm the one that called that in. And he would laugh. He'd be like, you're right, you did call it in. So, and I would send him Joel Osteen videos every morning and be like, because he got older, and I guess when you get older, you kind of broken down on your dreams. So I just kind of wanted to revamp him. Look, we can still do this. We can still be big time. We can still make it. And that's just where that came from. Just faith, really. Faith is.
I love that. That's great. That's a great answer.
So once you did go out on your own and you got your customer base built up, I'm sure there's a lot of lessons learned there.
Oh, of course.
But what do you think the biggest difference between, going from working for your dad, you got somebody to lean on, somebody to fall back on to, oh shit, I gotta make this work, or it's my ass. This is all on me.
Well, my dad's still alive, so I still got somebody to lean on and to go call for guidance. He's been doing construction for a long time now, so I call him if a customer asks me a question and I'm not 100% sure. I'll be like, hold on, let me make a phone call, and I'll call him. But I mean,
smart.
Yeah, but I don't want to give them the wrong answer. But it's very different. Giving your own bids, doing all your own paperwork, having your own office, doing your own office assistant. It was a big difference for me that I didn't know I was ready. I didn't know if I was ready for it, and it was kind of God. Honestly, He was like, sometimes stuff that you don't know if you're ready for, He knows you're ready for it. He pushes you into it.
He'll never give you more than you can handle either.
No, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, like you went from an employee to now you're the employer. Like that's a shift. That's something that you got to get
That's a
used
huge
to.
shift.
It is a shift.
Well, I was running men for a couple years, 2 or 3 years for my dad before I made that shift. So running the men wasn't really something new to me. The office side was something new. I didn't know. I didn't even know what a tax EID was until I branched out on my own, and then I was like, oh wait, we got to get this. But fortunately, I've been aligned with a lot of the right people. You know, I got a bank manager that's amazing to me, Chip Vonderberg. He takes real good care of me, and
Shout out Chip.
Yeah, when I started my own business, he was like, "Look, man, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this," and I was like, "All right, thank you." And I just kind of followed the steps that he told me, and that's kind of set me up to where I'm at now. Other than that, advertisement has been a blessing to me. Facebook, just all the advertisement I do. I'm very religious about putting 60% towards my business, 20% towards advertisement, 10% towards saving, and 10% towards my personal account. And I feel as long as I stick to that, then I will keep being successful. And that's how I divide my money up every single time.
So you have a plan.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have a plan, and you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, yes sir. I figure if I stay like this, then maybe one day I really can make millions. You know, construction's not the end for me. I plan on starting several businesses. I got lots of business ideas, and I plan on branching my business out from this. And construction is just going to be one of a ton of businesses that I'm going to have in the future.
Stay hungry. Bro.
Yeah,
I love it. That whole entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
That's like what this podcast has really evolved into. It's like we started like having this construction base, you know, for our podcast, but now it's just business in general and entrepreneurship, which is awesome. I love it. So, which leads you into leadership. You know, you got to be a leader if you're an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, of course.
So let's expand on that. Like, how has you shifting from working under your dad to now owning your own company at such a young age? How is that, like, what have you learned about leadership through all that?
You gotta be strict. You can't let people walk all over you. You know, people if they see a little, they'll take a lot. So you gotta be firm with them. You know, you gotta let guys know, and they know that Aaron will lay down the law if Aaron has to. Aaron, he's a real nice guy until you piss him off, and then it's business from there. And I don't mix business and personal or business and feelings.
I've always heard that.
Which has really worked out for me because, you know, my workers seem to respect me from that because I let them know from the beginning, like, we're here to make money. That's our objective. Our objective is nothing but making money. If you're not with that, then go find somebody else to work for. So kind of evolved from that theory, and that's still what I stick to today. I mean, I was on my roofers today. They were out there arguing over something that happened at their hotel, because I got some roofers that are from Jackson right now, and they're down here, and they were arguing over something that happened at the hotel, and I told them, I was like, hey, stop, cut it out. I was like, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to argue. I don't care what happened at your hotel. Leave that crap at the hotel. This is business. You're on my job site. I was like, get on the roof and lay shingles. It's all about making money. When you walk on my job till you leave my job. If you're not making me money, then you don't need to be out there. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and if you're making money, you're making the customer happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Production.
Getting that done on time, under schedule, you know, on budget
it's key. Big time.
That's key.
Yeah, for
No
sure.
doubt.
Happy customer. You know, word of mouth is the biggest advertisement you can have. There's nothing. You can sponsor all the stuff you want on Facebook. You can make all the websites, commercials, talk to WLOX, do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if you don't have good word of mouth, you're not going to have good business, especially in South Mississippi where we live, because we're just such a strong community where, everybody's got their own Facebook pages. It's residents of Long Beach, residents of Gulfport, and if you do one bad thing, you're on it, and everybody knows. So if you're doing good stuff, you're on it, and everybody knows. So you just got to... Word of mouth is big down here, so you got to make sure you have good word of mouth.
People in Mississippi like to talk.
Oh, most definitely.
We love to talk. We love to gossip a little bit.
We all have our clicks.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
But that's, honestly, I do a lot of our recruiting at FL Crane too. And I've signed us up for, anything from this hiring site to this hiring site, and now I'm using one called I Hire Construction. It's the best one I've found so far. Still haven't. I've hired one person off of it, but every single person that I've hired has been off of Facebook posts.
Really?
On my personal account.
Huh.
I'll post like, hey, anybody out there looking for a job? FL Crane. I hired a guy in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I hired a guy in Texas off of my Mississippi Facebook account, but it's word of mouth, exactly like you said.
Yeah. Everybody I've hired has been from my father's company. I kind of stole them. Honestly, I did. I stole him. I was like, hey, I need this guy. I want this guy, and he's nice enough to give him to me. So I'm like, hey.
Well, you got to use your resources.
Yeah, most definitely, definitely.
Well, so you get one guy from, and then you tell him, the only way I'm hiring you is if you find somebody else that's as good as you to bring with you.
Well, yeah, I hate to say it, but I like Jamaicans and Mexicans.
Absolutely.
And when you go from making $10 a day in your country to making $100 a day over here, that's $1,000 a day in their country. So they just have a different want. They have a different hunger than we do over here because they've seen real poverty. They know what real struggle is. And if you know what real poverty and real struggle is, then you have the want and hunger to make a real, to have a real work ethic, They'll work till from dusk to dawn and ask me for nothing but some fruit. So
that's that's their motivation,
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and there's plenty of, Americans that want to work too, but there's plenty that don't.
Oh yeah, most of the Americans that want to work, they're owners. I hate to say that, but they are. The Americans with real hunger and real ambition, they own companies. That's what they evolve into as owners. It's harder for different ethnicities that come over here to own companies, so they're kind of more the workers. Now I'm not saying we don't have American workers, because we absolutely do have American workers. But I have a lot more non-American workers that get double than my American workers done in a day.
A Mexican.
Yeah, not a Mexican for sure. So.
I tell you, an old man told me one time, he said, the best foreman you can ever hire has done at least 8 years in the pen. Best foreman you can ever hire has done at least 8 years in the pen. He knows how to run shit.
That's funny. That's pretty good.
Well, yeah, he got took away from society for at least 8 years too. So he kind of knows the same. Yeah, he knows the same struggle as the Mexicans and Jamaicans and Hondurans and all these various people that I hire. He knows the same struggle as him because he's been took away from society, and he's lived off of the little gel food that they give him every day, and he knows that what ambition
he wants more.
Yeah, he wants a better life. The people that want a better life is who I like to hire. I don't want to say that it's just non-Americans, but the people that are hungry for a better life is who I like to have in my company.
Well, we have a thing that seems to be going around in America where people get shit for free.
Oh, most definitely. That unemployment. They want to sit around and collect the unemployment.
I mean, if I can make $16 an hour sitting at the house, I ain't going to put shingles on the roof.
There's no motivation.
No. Why break your back carrying shingles up the roof?
Yeah, I'm not going to go try to make $18 an hour working on a hot roof if I can make 16 sitting at the house.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's not logical. So
And then have somebody bring me in a food truck, bring me lunch and dinner, and I get a free cell phone, and if my back hurts, I get a little motorized cart to ride around in. I mean, you can't give it all away. I mean, there needs to be incentive.
Unfortunately, this country has gotten to where we do give people too much. This day and age, we definitely give people way too much, in my opinion. And that's what has hurt the Americans' hunger. Americans, we built this country from the ground up. We were nothing.
We're hungry.
We were hungry at the beginning, and then we got comfortable. That's what happened, is we all got real comfortable.
Complacency.
Yeah, with what we had. So that's something I'm trying to stay away from myself, is I don't want to get comfortable. So.
Sorry, go ahead, babe.
we all have our own struggles and we all have our own motivation, and I think that it's like extremely impressive that at 24 you're sitting here running your own business, raising 2 kids. Like, what is your motivation behind that?
My son and my daughter, you know, I want them to, honestly, when I was 14, my family went bankrupt. We lost everything. It was hard times for my family. My dad couldn't buy a job if he wanted a job. He had a bunch of employees, and kept them all around. He was paying them all. He kept his office employees around. He was paying them all. We lost our house. We lost all of our cars, and that's not something I want my kids to ever go through. I want my kids to live off the money that I made. I don't want them to ever have to. And I've realized, you know, I'm gonna have to sacrifice a lot of stuff, especially at my age. I can't go out and party like I want to, because I got to be up at 4:35 in the morning. I can't do a lot of the stuff that my kids my age do, and I kind of feel like I'm willing to sacrifice my life and my happiness in a way, because I want my kids to be happy, and that's my real motivation, is making them happy.
Well, during like all of this, like with you starting this new business, has there ever been a time where you're like, oh my gosh, this was a mistake, I shouldn't have done this, or has it been, you
Most
know what
definitely.
I mean?
So 2 weeks after the storm, I was swamped. We're very popular people where we live, because people want 3rd generation contractors. They want 4th generation contractors, because they know they've been around and they're not going nowhere. We're not going to take their money right after a storm and take off. So I just had an overwhelming amount of calls. I mean, I probably had 200 or 300 people calling me. Hey, can you come look at my roof? And I'll put you on the list. I'll put you on the list. Hey, can you come look at this? My fence is down. Hey, can you come look at this? I got sheetrock damage. So I said, I'm going to bring in a bunch of subs. I said, I'm too overwhelmed. I'm going to bring in a bunch of subs. Well, I brought in a couple bad subs, and it led to me, I had to go out and apologize to people and get our original guys in there and fix the job, but it was just so overwhelming that I went to my dad. I broke down and I was in tears. I was like, look, I don't know if I'm actually made for this. I was like, I don't know how you do that. How do you handle all this? How do you handle all these people?
Made your first bad decision?
Oh, yeah, basically. I brought on a guy, I won't say his name, but I brought on a guy, and they were drinking on the job, and they were
can't have that.
No, it was an elderly guy's house. They were leaving beer cans all over the house, and they took an extended amount of time to do his job, and it was just a bad situation, and it was good family friends of mine, so it really got to me that, you know,
you're in a tough spot.
Yeah, that we were doing that to good family friends, and you know, with all the other people calling me, I was at a spot where I didn't know what to do. So I kind of broke down and went to my dad, and I was like, hey, how do you do this?
Yeah, and give me advice.
Yeah, how do you get through all this? And he told me the same thing, faith. He's like, you need to get on your knees and pray, man. He's like, I'm going to help you out the most.
That's not what you wanted to hear at the time.
No, not at all. I was like that. So my dad's favorite saying when I first started my company, I would call him complaining, and he'd be, welcome to my world. Right? Welcome to my world. And I finally told him, I was like, can you stop effing telling me welcome to my world? I'm so tired of hearing
that. That's not what I want to hear. That's not helpful.
That's not the advice that I wanted right now. But, you know, it was welcome to his world. And I finally got to see
You got welcomed.
Yeah, how he had to rob Paul to pay Peter, and how he kept money moving, and how he kept employees going, getting material, getting everything that he did, keeping this crazy overhead going, how stressful it really can be, and how you got to step up your emotional level to be able to handle that, you know?
No doubt. That's what my dad told me a long time ago. I was a kid. I had, came to him with a problem. Like, Dad, I'm upset about this, or I'm worried. That's what it was. I'm so worried about this. And I don't even remember what it was now, but he looked at me and he's like, son, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Like, we got 600 employees at FL Crane, and that's 600 families that I'm responsible for putting food on their table. Yeah. You don't talk about worrying about something. Let's sit down and talk. I was like,
yeah, Yeah, you got me
All
beat
right,
there,
never
Dad.
mind. Never mind. Sorry, I'm not worried about it.
I'll take it back. I'll take it back.
I never understood really. I thought, I never understood what he had to deal with until I branched out on my own and did my own thing.
You feel responsible for every man on your crew, you know.
Oh, most definitely. You want to make sure that they're taken care of, that they're fed, and at the same time, you want to make sure that they're not getting the raw end on you. Though you want to make sure that you're getting their worth out of them. So
yeah,
it's a balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's a pendulum. It's a fine line that you got to walk with.
I feel like after a time, the cream rises to the top. Is that how it's said? Those guys, they understand that balance too.
yeah.
They understand, like, I know what I'm getting paid for and I'm going to give it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I understand. This guy's got my back. We have bad times. This guy's got my back. No doubt. If we go dry with work for 2 weeks and I ain't got nothing to do, he's going to find me a yard mow.
Mm-hmm.
Like something. Like, he's got my back.
Yeah. Well, so we talked about like the bad time or the time that you thought, oh my God, this is just not going to work.
Yeah.
Tell us about have you had, I know it's early on, but have you had that aha moment? Like, hell yeah, I am made for this. This is awesome. Like walked out high-fiving kind of
we
thing.
We did it!
Yeah.
I'm kind of there right now. I feel like,
Really?
honestly, yeah.
Cheers,
I'm
woo.
like, I've made it to where I'm getting all this work and I'm dealing with it fine. I'm like, all right, who's next? Come on, let's go. It just kind of grew emotionally, I feel like, to be able to deal with all that and to be able to keep up with all these customers. And, I found new ways to stay more organized, to stay on top of it, there was probably 200 people after the storm that I told them, hey, I'm coming to your house, I'll be there soon, and they never saw me. So I had to find a way to adjust and to make real adjustments, and I feel like I'm there to where I don't let customers down anymore. I've gotten to where,
Can't ever promise an underdelivery.
No.
I mean, what's realistic.
Yeah, so
you
now
start to see that.
Yeah, so now I've gotten there, and now that I've really taken off and I've branched out on my own and I am my own company and I am starting to be very successful, that it's like, all right, I can do this. I'm here. I can really make this happen. It's just going to take a little time for me to get the wheels are going. Now we just got to keep them rolling. So that's the real objective now. Is to just keep the wheels rolling because they're going. They're going for sure.
You're young and hungry. I feel like you'll have no problem doing that.
Oh yeah,
There ain't no doubt about that. That's what it kind of ties in exactly what you just said. I was thinking in my head, like 24 years old, what was I doing? It's a scary thought, brother. You're light years ahead.
Yeah, way more mature than I feel like me and Cody ever were.
But at the same time, like, I have to ask, like, being handed that responsibility, knowing that you're responsible for all these, lives and families to, put food on the table at 24 years old and succeeding at it, might I say, but how did that grow you as a person, you feel like?
Oh, it's matured me a lot, when I started with my dad, I was that asshole boss. I was, once I took over.
Try to lead by force.
Yeah, and I've kind of evolved to learn that, we're all here to help each other in this world, so that's what I'm out to do now. I'm not out to bankrupt people. I'm just out to make a living for myself and to help them out at the same time. Every job I do, it helps people, Their roofs are damaged.
Somebody needs it.
People need construction workers, and we're a dying breed,
We're what do they call us? Essential.
That's what we're definitely essential workers. But we're a dying breed, man, and people need us, and that's what I've come to realize is that at the end of the day, it's to help people. It's not nothing but you're helping people and you're providing for your family, and that's all I'm out to do.
That's part of that faith thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
Goes hand in hand for sure.
100%. So I know, and this question's kind of off topic at the moment, but it's just I'm curious. we started this podcast a long time ago because we were trying to make our industry better and people understand each other better. And we'll come back to where we're at, but it just hit me in the back of my head. If there was like one thing, I know you have to deal with a lot of people, a lot of moving parts and what you do. If there was one thing that everybody knew that you had to handle, like that knew about your role in a build, like that would make your job easier, what do you think that would be? Did I explain it well?
Mm-hmm. What is something that you wish other people in our industry knew about your
customer
trade? About your trade.
Your customer, the trade part, other trades that are working around you, if they could understand one thing about what you're having to go through and do, and make it easier on you, what do you think it would be?
I honestly think that people just don't understand what kind of pressure you're under actually as an owner. You know, they're employees, so they get paid by job or by week to week. They're not worried about what's next. How are we gonna eat next week? They don't gotta think about that. They don't gotta think about I got all these guys, how am I gonna provide for them next week? And I wish people just understood like the kind of pressure and stress that we're under to keep providing for everybody that does work for us and for their families and for, you know, it's a lot of stress and pressure that you get under, because what happens if you don't?
Yeah.
If you stop getting phone calls, you know what happens? That family, you stop feeding them. So it's I wish people would just understand the stress and pressure that you're actually on, and be more understanding of that. Honestly.
Well, it's different being like an owner and then like an employee. I mean, an owner takes work home with them every single day. Like you never stop really thinking about it.
Never.
But as employee, you know, you worry about your job from when you clock in and when you clock out. So it's a different mindset for sure.
What I was curious about also was like being 24 years old. Do you see your customer base or your employees kind of giving you pushback because you are so young?
You
ever get any of that?
When I worked for my dad, most definitely. My dad's workers, they didn't respect me, honestly, because once I took over, I was so young. They felt that I didn't have
you're very young for what you're doing. It's amazing.
And they felt that, you know, there was a lot of guys that been working for my dad for 15, 20 years, and I jumped ahead of them on the totem pole, and they didn't like that at all. They didn't like that one bit. Mm-hmm. And the small fact of the matter is they don't have the ambition to jump to the top of the totem pole, and that's why they're still at the bottom. And I had to come to facts and realize, you know, everybody's not going to like you, and business is business once again, and personal is personal, and you can't wear your heart on your sleeve, because at the end of the day, you're out to make a dollar. You're out to provide for your family. You're not.
Do you think, like, being young, like, as say if I was your customer, whenever you meet me for the first time, I'm like, man, this kid's gonna come do my roof for me? Like, you get that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I just went and signed a contract with a lady tonight, and they asked me, they're like, "You look really young. How old?"
Really?
Yeah, and it's like, I'm 24, and they're like, "You're 24?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then when you get done with their job, it's completely different. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you did such a beautiful job. Thank you so much." And
I'm so glad you were 24 and could whip through that like really quick.
I'm like,
quicker.
Yeah. In my mind, I'm like, at the beginning, I didn't get that same vibe from you, but all right, thank you.
Well, that's just proving people wrong. Like, I mean, that's just part of that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, you've had your disadvantages as far as being young in the industry. You know, just having to figure things out.
I'm definitely getting a lot of lessons that are, how do you describe, hard lessons to learn. You know, they're not easy lessons that you couldn't get it unless you were young and doing what I'm doing. I mean, you can either get it now or you can get it at 35. Basically, is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So,
Make it happen.
yeah. So, I'm not gonna sit here and claim that I'm this genius contractor and that I still wake up. I still study contracting. I still study Spanish. I still study. I want to get to where I am at 35, 36, this genius contractor, but at a young age, no, I'm not there yet. But thankfully, that's why I do have that fallback, because I do have that guy that was my age one time, and he was doing the same thing I am. So that's why we got these little portable devices we call phones, and I pick it up and say, instead of making informed decisions, we can, number one, we can always research something and really look into it, really learn about it. And with us being already in the construction industry, then we should be able to understand what's going on whenever we research into it. And number two, I got my dad. He's been a blessing. I can call him, and he's been in the construction industry for 45 years now, and I can say, hey, look, I'm stumped right here. What kind of advice do you got for me? For example, I'm doing a roof for some people, and they added a hood vent in for themselves, a do-it-yourself job, and they wanted to know, can I change? This guy's got his vent pipe running to the whole other side of his house. And he was like, what can you do to fix that? And I didn't know. I was like, I'm pretty sure your vent pipe's supposed to be straight up above it, because that's how all the other ones I've seen have been. But he wanted to know if he could keep it flex instead of the typical aluminum pipe that comes up from it. And I was stumped. And I just made a phone call, and my dad knew me. He's like, yeah, you can use flex, you can use aluminum, you can use whatever you need. So luckily I like to call it a lifeline. If I need a lifeline, I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm stumped. Where do I go? What do I do?
So you're lucky to have that lifeline.
Blessed.
Sure.
You're blessed, yeah.
But you're rare in our industry to use it.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people would rather make mistakes on the job.
Well, they don't want
Or
to
let
admit that they
pride
don't know
get in
it.
the way.
Yeah.
Like, I like that this whole time we've been interviewing you, it's so obvious
Humble.
that you are very humble and not afraid to be vulnerable. And I think that it makes such a great leader and business owner.
Look,
Absolutely.
if I don't know, then I don't know. So if I don't know, then I need to talk to somebody that does know, or I need to do the research to know. So instead of giving informative answers, I tell people, because in the end of the day, you're going to look like the dummy if you give
That's
people
true.
informative answers.
They'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Whether somebody comes behind you in a few years, no matter what, you're going to look like the dummy. So it's just better to tell them, look, I honestly don't know the answer to that question
Let me
right
make
now.
a phone call.
Let me make a phone call. Let me do some research, and I'll let you know what the best option is. And that's what I do for a lot of people. So.
Well, what is your
that's
advice, like, as, such a young business owner, what is your advice that you have for other people out there that's your age that are wanting to, dive into the same career path?
The same in the construction industry?
That, and really just business in general, like being a business owner, no matter what industry you're in.
Pray a lot, and when you pray, don't ask, thank for stuff that you don't have yet. I mean, just thank God. That's all I can say is put your faith in Him. Thank God ahead of time before you even got it, because then you will have it eventually if you just. And that's what I've lived off of, and that's what's guided me and helped me. So that's all I can say is, man up, woman up, because you're going to be under a lot of stress. You're going to be under a lot of scrutiny. You're going to be under a lot of pressure. Everybody, all your customers, if your workers mess up, that's not on them. That at the end of the day, that comes back on you.
100%.
So it's time to take full responsibility for everything. If your workers park in the grass, if your workers do anything, don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry. They shouldn't have." Say, "I'm sorry. That's my fault. They should have done that. I'm sorry. I'll talk to them. I'll handle that."
Own up.
Yeah, own up. Take responsibility and have a lot of faith in God. That's all I can say about going out on your own.
Don't be scared.
Bada boom, bada bam. Like, that's pretty good.
That's pretty straight up answer.
Pretty straight up, pretty good advice. I love it.
Being 24 years old, it's already impressive enough to see a 24-year-old and in this time, succeeding in construction, especially millennials, right?
Oh
Nobody
yeah,
can work with
our generation's
Nobody
lazy.
oh yeah, we're lazy. Nobody can work with us. Can't communicate with these millennials. I don't know how to do it. You're proving it wrong already, but that speaks volumes. But something else that I'm truly impressed is to know that you're 24 years old. You're doing all this, and on top of that, you're raising 2 kids. Daughter that has rare
SMA. It's a genetic disease.
and doing things in the community, doing things. I know you like to fight a little bit with the MMA, and I've heard through the grapevine, through a mutual friend, Brandon Killer B. Davis, that you've done fundraisers at some fights type deal.
Oh yeah,
and trying to raise awareness for this disease. I mean, that's class act.
Yeah, it is.
I just a lot of people, even doctors that we go to, don't understand the genetic disease that my daughter has, and people need to understand. I didn't understand, I was that guy that would see people in wheelchairs and stuff and think nothing of it, but people need to understand that it's hard for their family, and to have awareness for it and to be respectable of it, because there's a family going through that. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of SMA. It's a spinal muscular atrophy. It's what my daughter has. She's missing the SMN1 gene. It's the gene that sends messages to her brain telling it to give her body protein. And it's been a real game changer, life changer for me, because it's something that I wanted to raise awareness about, and it raised awareness in me, myself, about people with genetic diseases. I didn't have the same respect that I had for people with genetic diseases that I do now, but maybe I can change that in somebody that was like me. If they see, and I talk to them and they see, what it's like to have a daughter that does have a genetic disease. So
I mean, you already have. I wasn't even really aware of what a genetic disease was.
Yeah.
But
well, whenever you first walked in here tonight before we started this podcast, I saw your eyes light up when you talked about her.
She is my world. She's got.
And look, I did some Facebook stalking before you got here. I did.
You added me as a friend, and
I did.
I saw that. Yeah.
I did. Oh yeah, but she's a beautiful girl and beautiful soul, and I think it just speaks volumes about your character and the person that you are, and
no doubt.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm wrapped around them big blue eyes for sure. They got me all the way wrapped. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, look, we want to help and we want to raise awareness. And
absolutely. How can we help?
Yeah, how can we and our listeners help?
So they got a Cure SMA. It's the main website, main thing, and whenever we raised money, that's what we donated to. And it went, all the funds go to actually the cure that my daughter got. They call it a cure, but it's not really a cure. It's so my daughter got the gene replacement therapy. But long story short, all the money that you donate to Cure SMA, it goes towards funding new scientific development. Like right now, they're working on, my daughter at first, she was on something called Spinraza. You got an SMN1 and you have an SMN2. Your SMN1, what she's missing, works great. It sends messages to your brain, tells it to give your body protein. The SMN2 is kind of like a knockoff version. So the Spinraza was a steroid that went into the SMN2 and tried to make it function as the SMN1. Well, then they came out with the gene replacement therapy, which is where they go in and actually insert the SMN1 into her body. And now she's got this SMN1, so all the regression of her disease has stopped,
Wow.
If she would have lost her muscles before then, they couldn't have brought them back. But she was under the age of 2, so she didn't lose any of that regression. But now they got something where they're trying to combine the Spinraza and the gene replacement therapy to see if maybe that will even boost the SMN1 that they put in kids. And science is crazy. There's all types of research that they're doing. And anything that goes to Cure SMA is directly donated to scientific development for babies with SMA. And before they came out with Spinraza and SMA, Spinraza and the gene replacement therapy, SMA was actually one of the #1 killers of toddlers in America, and nobody even knew that. So
Really?
I didn't know it, and obviously y'all didn't know it.
Yeah.
No.
Nobody really knows it, but it was the #1 killer of toddlers in America. So everything you donate to this cause, it goes to scientific development towards helping these babies. And any baby out there like my daughter with a genetic disease similar, I think they do need help. So that's what we're in.
And
for.
what was that website that you said?
CureSMA.org, I believe it is.
Okay.
It's we get monthly stuff in the mail from Cure SMA, and they send stuff to every baby that has SMA. My daughter would get all types of toys and packages because there's stuff that they can't do that other kids can, but they get stuff in the mail that kind of, it's toys that they can play with, toys that they can, stuff that, little squeezy balls that helps her form her little muscles in her hands, just stuff like that Cure SMA sends out to people. Bands, t-shirts, just to raise awareness of babies with genetic diseases like she has. So.
Yeah.
And word of mouth, like,
yeah.
Tell a friend if anybody likes what they heard, which I know you have. Tell a friend about this. This is a worthy cause. I couldn't be prouder to have you on the show to talk about this. I mean, and tell your story about coming through the grind and construction and coming out on top at 24 years old, and overcoming adversity. That's what Couple of Subs is all about.
That's right.
So y'all are good people, and thank y'all for having me. I'm glad to be here. So.
Well, as Cody says, good people find good people.
Good people find good people.
Yeah, that's
what he
like
likes to say.
That's
right. That's right. Well, look, before we get out of here, tell our listeners where they can go to find more about AJ Hammons.
You can go to my Facebook at ajhammondsconstruction.com, roofing and general construction, and we're also in the works with the website right now. Mr. David is making our website right now, AJ Hammons Construction.
David Cruz.
David Cruz is making our website, and we're going to be at the very top of Google before too long here. So before too long, you'll be able to Google AJ Hammons Construction, and we'll pop up right there. You click on the link, and we can give you estimates. You can make a phone call, or you can give us a call at 228-234-2646, and whatever you need, I'll be the one to answer the phone and say, if I hear, hello, this is Aaron, and then whatever you need from there, I'll take care of you.
I love it. Awesome.
He's Aaron up on the phone.
Yeah.
Got the blood.
Hey, Aaron, isn't that what you were calling earlier?
Yeah, I always get that all the time.
Yeah.
There are people, I'm like you done messed up, hey, Aaron, and they're like, oh yeah, I saw that movie. Like, all right, yeah.
That's funny. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for being on our show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank y'all so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, honor. So it's been fun. Hopefully one day I'll get like old FLC Crane over there.
All it is time.
Yeah,
that's right.
20 years down the road from now, hopefully we'll get there. Cause that's
being hungry is all it takes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We look forward to seeing where you take your new company. So congratulations.
Absolutely.
Thank
and
y'all.
all your success. We wish you the best, brother.
Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all so much. It's good to have good people like y'all. So thank y'all.
All right, y'all. If you like what you heard today, go check us out at our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all the fun social media outlets at Couple of Subs, and our website at coupleofsubs.com. Till next time.
All right, and don't forget, if you like what you heard today, go to
Cure SMA.
CureSMA.org. Make your donation. Spread the word. It's a worthy cause.
Most definitely.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Till next time.